Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your mercy and grace, and we pray for your presence here tonight and help us to do your business as well as the city business. We love you and we thank you, and I appreciate all that you do for all of us. I pray your blessings upon each person here and upon each councilman and the mayor. In your name I pray. Amen. And the city clerk. In Jesus' name. Amen. And the Lord.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in your package, you had approval of the minutes from 8/3 and 8/19, 2021.
Motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. All right, committee and department reports. Chamber.
Good evening, council. We've entered September, which you know is our largest tourism month. This weekend, we welcome citizens and guests to free sponsored events. The Kennett Cruisers Car Show Friday evening with a cruise in through town and live music at the American Legion Friday night. And Saturday, their car show will be in Jones Park. This year, they'll be honoring first responders, and I think there's several special picks for those. Also, Saturday is the Fall into Arts Festival on the downtown square, and the 3D Bash happens Thursday through Sunday near the compost facility. There's no admission fee, and guests of all ages are invited to go out and view the RC show. Anyone who hasn't gone, I really encourage you to, whether you have little kids or adults to please. It's a pretty interesting event. We've made a huge tourism push with these events, placing them on 4 billboards in different towns, placing magazine ads such as this one, and creating a targeted social media campaign in Missouri, Arkansas, and Tennessee, which we hope will draw visitors to our community. Also happening this weekend is the Mr. and Miss Delta Fair pageants. While not related to those correspond with what's happening at the end of the month, so I'm sure that will draw out-of-town visitors as well. And like I mentioned just then, the Delta Fair will take place September 28th through October 2nd. We look forward to bringing that back, and guests can find fair information on the Fair Board's website, deltafairfund.com. That's all I have.
Good.
Thank you.
I got a question. Excuse me, I
Yes,
have a
sir.
question. Tell me what's going on with this sign.
So we received a donor to purchase a digital sign for the chamber yard. And they had met with a council member at that time, and the council member thought that it could come out of beautification for the city to sponsor the other half. So they went ahead and purchased that. My understanding was that was built into the budget at the beginning of the year. Whether or not that was done, I'm not sure, but that's what we understood.
Okay, so we didn't actually vote on it yet? It came out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Finance. Steve's not here, the rest, Jake's not here, so it'll be Lisa and John, anything?
I don't even think that, no.
Okay.
I've got a question. What did we do with the money that we got from the peanut company? Where is it? I've never heard anything about it.
Part of it was paid on that loan, and then the other part was put in faith.
So we still owe how much?
That I would have to find out for sure.
Okay.
It was, I think, under 2.
Yeah, I think so, under 200,
Under 200
that we still owe.
still owe, how much did we put in the savings?
That I don't know, I'd have to look.
Okay. Anybody, I don't know who's on the finance committee. Anybody on the finance committee have an idea, John or Lisa, have an idea?
I was under the impression that when they sold that property, they were gonna pay the biggest bulk of that off on the loan.
We need to do a little checking on that. All right, thank you.
All right, fire.
Mayor, council members. Call volume for the month of August. Again, it's been no surprise and continues to follow a trend. Last year, at this time, we were running 112 calls. This time this year, 363. Continually, the EMS calls continue to be the majority of what we respond to, but we have had also our share of structure fires and other rescues and significant calls like that. Officially, Mayor and a few of us members from the fire department, we did go to the ambulance district meeting a couple of Mondays ago. And we did let them know that, yes, the Kennett Fire Department is interested in getting into the transport business. We've advised them that we're wanting to purchase 2 ambulances, run 1 primary and 1 as a backup. So again, this was information for them. Again, there's things that have to be worked out. Again, the Duncan County Ambulance District, their primary contract is with Medic One Ambulance Service. As I explained to them, our goal is not to completely take over, it's to make sure we've got more ambulances out there and available. And like right now, again, the COVID response is hampering a lot of efforts. Sometimes we're having 30-minute, 45-minute waits on ambulances. We felt like there need to be additional ambulances out there and available to our citizens. So again, we've kind of made it official. And they're going to work with us, and hopefully we'll get some more information to follow. But letting you all know that that's what's going on. That being said, we had contact, or was made contact with the Boot Hill Regional Planning Committee. And there are some grants that may be available to us to help with the emergency medical service infrastructure. It may involve doing a little rehab work on one of our existing fire stations. Kind of looking at Station 1 there in the center of town, as well as getting 2 ambulances with this grant. So again, this is something that we're talking with them, and I know there has been much discussion with the Boot Hill Planning Committee about their relationship with the city. So again, there will have to be much more discussions in the near future to see if it's something that we may want to venture further with.
Yeah, there will be a representative from Boot Hill Regional at our next meeting.
Okay. We're also looking fire recovery that handles our billing for fire services. We spoke with them, and they're working on a fee schedule for us as far as ambulance transport. So I should be able to give you a little bit better knowledge base as far as the monies that may be coming in due to this increased service that we're going to provide. So, other big things going on, we're fixing to start our EMT class in-house with the fire department. We're at 17 students. It's going to produce more EMTs here in town, which is drastically needed. So we're very, very thrilled with that. That class will be led by Tyler Roberts and several other EMS personnel on staff. The other thing, fire trucks. Big issue for us right now. Our Engine 2, the 92 model fire truck, had a steering gearbox issue, and given that it was a 92 model, that gearbox is no longer made. So we had some issues with getting one found that was remanufactured. But luckily, one of our local mechanics found someone, and they were able to get it fixed for us and get that truck back in service. However, when that truck was out, we utilized, it's called our Engine 79, which is a 79 model fire truck. Had it in service for 3 days and the brakes went out. That truck had extensive repairs in the neighborhood of $4,000 about 2 years prior, and the brakes went out while going to the call. Fortunately, no one was hurt, fortunately. So while that truck was en route back to the station, guys were going to go ahead and put it back in the station when all of a sudden we developed a fire under the dash. So it kind of compounded. That in turn started involving Murma. And I believe I did send it to the fire committee, if I did not send it to the rest of the team, about Murma's response. They said they would not honor the repairs to the truck because that was normal wear and tear. And again, that was,
Fire.
yeah, because of the fire. So again, I did know if I sent that to the fire committee, but I'm not sure if I sent it to the rest. If not, we will get that to you by the next council meeting. So, we're kind of hurting on fire trucks. We have that 79 unit as a reserve. We also have the 67 truck, which is 54-year-old. It's a 67 model International fire truck. We came across a deal about a month ago, we were kind of looking at different options out there for the future. Grant-wise, there is the AFG grant. We'll let you know though, however, in the state of Missouri for last year's grants, there was only one apparatus issued in the state of Missouri. So it's going to be a very hard grant in the future to get. There's currently one now that is a 50-50 grant, and it's very similar to what they're doing with school buses in some places, where basically you take a school bus and enable it, render it useless, and you trade it in, and they get you another one. They have a program for fire apparatus, whereas you trade in a 92 to 2006 model truck, you give it in, you surrender it, and they'll pay 50% of a new one. That is one grant that's available. The one grant that may be pretty viable for us is with the new station, there's going to be a USDA grant for equipment, and it's a 35-65 grant. City pays 65%. With that grant, it goes in with our loan value for the station, and it's going to be covered over the 20-year period. We came across a used apparatus. One concern we had, and we have in the city, is the new Delta peanut plant. When they come to town, they kind of inquired about our high angle rescue capabilities. We do have ropes. We do have a 78-foot aerial ladder, but they have about 100-foot platforms that they occasionally have to get on. So with that, we're kind of looking at different options. An option that's come up, we found a used apparatus. It's in Cottleville. It's outside the St. Charles area in St. Louis. It's a 2006 tower ladder. It's a 100-foot platform. They were asking $200,000 for this piece of equipment. The dealer that's dealing with this has told us we can get it for about $190,000. This motor has been rebuilt this past year. They were in the process of getting a new ladder truck, and their motor went out on it, so they had to rebuild this one. So we've got a fairly new rebuilt motor, as well as the aerial device was rebuilt and gone through in 2014. It was removed from the truck, gone through, and put back. So probably looking at about a 7-year-old truck as far as the majority of the equipment to it. But again, we kind of found that, and we felt like that might be something that the city might want to look at. The other thing was, as far as looking at apparatus, again, going to a local Pierce dealer, and that was something else that we kind of looked at. In the past, we've utilized E1 fire trucks, but we've utilized a company out of the St. Louis area. That's, again, E1. Pierce, this is another fire truck company, McQueen out of Eureka in Missouri, up north. They handle this area. However, EVS is a Pierce dealer in Memphis. That's an hour and a half away. We were getting a lot of, when we call Banner to have them come down and work on our existing E1s, an extravagant amount of cost on service calls. So again, that's a 4-hour trip down, 4-hour trip back. It costs money to do that. We felt like with possibly going to a Pierce manufacturing, that gives us a little bit closer dealer, that if something goes wrong, either we're fairly close to go down there, or it's closer for them to come up here and work on our trucks. They were trying to wheel and deal with us. We thought maybe with the upcoming grant through equipment, if we purchased both vehicles and applied them towards the equipment grant, that might be a viable option for us. I figured out somewhere in the neighborhood of over 20 years, they'd run us $22,000 extra per year for 2 trucks. There has been some concern though, talking to the representative from the dealer, that the platform truck, there's another city that's interested in for the $190,000. So, again, we felt like this truck is going to help. It's going to help businesses, especially the new business that's come to town. It's going to help show that we're there to support them in every aspect of their needs, as well as provide us with a newer apparatus and a much larger pump capacity. We are interested in getting rid of the 79 truck and the 67, and again, upgrading our fleet. That would leave us with engine 2, which is still a 29-year-old fire truck. But we were looking at trying to get rid of the 42-year-old and the 54-year-old and upgrade. Scott, you got anything to add?
Not really.
Okay.
You know, at one
You covered
time,
it.
the city was, many years ago, they bought about every 5 years, this force chief, they was buying one every 5 years, and they went to every 7 years. And so, there was a gap there. But if you look at every 7 years, that means that the oldest your frontline truck is gonna be 14 years old. And you'll actually keep a truck, it'll be reserved up till it's 28 years old. And really, we've talked about it before, we need to get into some kind of program like that. And it should be automatic that about the 5.5 years where you start speccing it to where you bid it on the 6th year, because it takes about a year for delivery.
We're about 2 to 3 years out now on a new truck. The existing truck, like I said, there's the used one that we're looking at, trying to get a problem solved immediately. But also the other apparatus that's new, it's considered a stock unit. In other words, there's nothing that's really, that we want to add as far as the fire department that's unique to it. It works for the city of Kennett's needs, and there's no need in it, and speccing it out and going a little bit higher in the price. So that's where the brand new, the 495 one, that's where we're coming into play with that. Normally those trucks, like I said, they run 200,000 and 500 and 5,000 respectively, but with this, they were going to cut us a deal and knock off about 20,000 for both pieces of equipment if we signed a contract with them. So again, as far as our equipment grant, September 21st, Mitzi's coming down, there'll be a public hearing as far as our equipment grant, and we were going to need to know something by then. But concern is now, is this platform truck, is it going to be gone by then? Because again, they do have a city that's interested. So
Every department has the same problem, I believe, right now, is that we have no method to save money to get ready for that next purchase. Keith has the same problem with heavy equipment, police do with their cars, you do with your equipment. We don't have any way that we can set money aside in the equipment reserve or whatever, because there's just no system for it. And I feel like we have to develop something like that to where if they have, you know, we talked about if they had leftover budget money, we could put it towards equipment. We've got to figure out some way that every year, we can't just wait until whatever 7 years and think we're going to get money. We got to be putting it away, planning for the future, and we don't have that method right now. We got to figure something out with that, because every department has that issue.
A small percentage of every year's budget.
Or if, even if they've got any leftover money, put it through there. You know, the fear is that the budgets will be increased with the attempt to get a little bit more money to put away, and I don't want that to happen, but I don't think these guys are gonna do that either. I think they're gonna keep solid with their budget, and then anything that's left, we put towards additional equipment. But
we didn't know if maybe through the COVID relief funding that we saved on, if that might be available, and or even the American Rescue Act, if that was gonna be any funding that might be feasible in order to make this purchase at the time.
Well, why don't we see if we can get the finance committee together and the fire committee together, along with Brenda and Leslie about Leslie will know a lot on the COVID relief money, and see how quickly we can get the two committees together to sit down and hash things out and see what it goes to, and if we need to do that further, we can. So, would Thursday be too early, or he's been gone for 3 weeks, so. But it's
To get the two trucks, the deal, you have to buy them both at the same time?
Alan?
We would just require both contracts to be signed. You don't have to necessarily pay for them at the same time.
Okay, so you got the platform, because that's the one that's really, somebody's interested in.
That's the one
If
that's.
you secure that one first, and then you could always hold off on the second one.
Like I said, as long as both contracts for the purchase are signed, the actual payment can wait till figure out how you guys wanna fund that.
But it would require both contracts to be signed?
Yes.
Is there any warranty with,
On the
Oh,
platform, no.
is it,
They said that, you know, they would honor, they said that the motor's freshly rebuilt, and Cottleville has been running it, but, the Queen said there would be some.
have we seen, have they done a current pump and aerial
Yes,
test on it?
current, everything's up to date. I spoke with the Cottleville Fire Chief, and he said, as far as they're concerned, we're concerned, he said all the equipment that's on it is gonna go with it, with the exception of the hose and the SCBA. It does have hydraulic, Genesis rescue tools on it. So again, that gives us another set of rescue tools in the event of an emergency. So again, probably price-wise, probably about 8,000 to 10,000 on equipment that will be, that will be left on.
Is it a 300 tank?
It's a 300-gallon tank with a 2,000-gallon per minute pump. There was another good thing about this is with the 2,000-gallon per minute pump, if we move out 79, it's a 1,000-gallon per minute pump. We're 67, which is 750. The 2,000-gallon pump will greatly help us when it comes down to ISO rating again in 3 years. But yeah, he was kind of needing the, if it was possible, but again, that's y'all's business here. That, if it's feasible that we sign a contract with him to look at getting these vehicles.
Well, I guess one of the questions on here would be that, you know, Thursday night, finance and fire get together and hash things out. If they come out of that meeting in favor, do you guys wanna do something tonight that if they do, or do you wanna call another meeting, or do you wanna wait 2 weeks and possibly?
No.
Alan, what would it do if we sign the contract and it doesn't happen? What are we looking at?
Off the top of my head, I know there's a penalty, a cost penalty, but I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head.
No, I'm not saying sign a contract tonight, just the council to agree that if finance and fire come together Thursday and say, look, this does happen, it looks good, that from that point on, then they can give you the permission to take the next step without calling another business meeting. But if we, or do we just need to go ahead and, if you guys come together Thursday and everything looks good, then we'll call another one for, you know, Friday or Monday? Which way would you guys like to go?
We've got it now. I mean, if the finance committee and the fire department committee combined agree to it, that's the majority of the council anyway,
Okay.
so.
So being the,
The council here can authorize the finance committee and the fire committee together to execute a contract.
I make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
We got a motion and a second?
Yeah, execute a contract contingent on those committees agreeing that it's financially feasible.
What he said.
Now, all this is for the ladder truck and a,
platform and a pumper. The pumper is gonna be a brand new, it's a pure Sabre. It's again, it's a 1,500 gallon per minute pump. Again, increasing our pump capacity again from one of those 1,000 or 750 because we'll be moving those apparatus.
what's your tank size on
It'll be 750. And again, that's a stock truck. It's gonna be, it's available. Alan, when's it available, that stock truck?
Basically, once we get payment, we have it shipped from Florida.
it? What are we talking about total cost?
Total cost-wise, the 190 plus 495 was 685 total. And again, if we incorporated it into the equipment grant, we're looking at dropping it down. We'll be paying 65%, which would be 458,384 for 2 trucks.
That's what we would have.
And then that would just take the payment over a 20-year period. Instead of a 7 or 10-year period, we will have to buy a new truck now that we have to pay off in 7 to 10 years as far as normal leasing possibilities.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do you need to read it?
Well, I just got notes.
Okay.
But the motion was that the council agrees to allow the two committees, Fire and Finance, if they agree to this, that the council agrees to let them go ahead and execute the contract.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Do you have anything else for me? Don't forget leasing. One more thing, I do need a closed meeting to discuss hiring and firing personnel.
Okay. Okay, human resources.
We don't have anything for this meeting. Brenda, I'm drawing a blank on it. Do we have anything that we need to discuss further?
No, not that I know of right now.
Okay, so nothing at this time.
Okay. All right, humane.
We have been extremely busy. I can't go into details about a case we were a little over a week ago, but it required working with several other agencies inside the city limits of Kennett, and we filled up over half of our kennels with dogs that are fighters, which made us have to go out and buy more secure fencing to keep them from getting to each other. And it also took over half our kennels. So until we transport Saturday, we're pretty much full. So we're asking the public kind of be a little understanding until we can get some decisions made on the dogs that we took from that case, which hopefully we'll have by Thursday. So, but in August, we took in 78 dogs, returned 12, euthanized 1 due to aggression, and transferred out 66 to rescue. Also want to say thank you to Dr. Mobley, because normally Dr. Daffern does do most all of our health certificates, and due to something in his office, they were closed our last transport, and Dr. Mobley fit in 33 dogs within 4 days, so we could get them. So that's like a big, huge thank you to his office and his staff. I mean, that says a lot for him. So, does anybody have any questions? I just want to say thank you guys for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mom.
All right, yeah, thank you to Dr. Mobley getting that many in. That's a lot. All right, police.
Mayor and council, we spoke with Councilman McEwen. The only thing we need is a closed meeting to hire personnel for communications.
Okay. Street.
Couple things, Keith will fill us in on some of it too, but one of the things that we need tonight is, we've been asked if we could abandon William Street and from Elm going south to the dead end. It's going into the old Kmart building, and we would need to vote on that to abandon it and allow that to be used by the.
Yeah, it just dead ends into a fence, so it's never, probably ever gonna go as far as straight anywhere else. It's been that way for years. This actually has come up before, but it was also added in with the abandonment of a ditch in behind, can't think of the name of it now, off of Starnes down there. And it was kind of tabled because if we abandon that ditch, then the property owners can do what they want to with it, which is drainage for that neighborhood. So it was kind of put off, and we, in my opinion, we don't need to abandon the ditch for sure, because it will then, if they want to take the pipes or cover them up or whatever, if we abandon it, they'll be able to do that, which will cause that neighborhood to flood.
but these roads don't go to anywhere, and we've been asked for the one on Wembley Street by Keith Jones. He said if we would abandon it, he would start taking care of it, because it stayed grown up quite a bit. It is in behind neighbor's car lot, and it dead ends into their property there, mini storage or whatever that is there. They used to have a paint shop there, and it'll never go anywhere anyway, either. So they're both just dead end streets that are, I don't know that the city would ever need them unless they ever bought some of that property. They won't go anywhere else. It would just be something we wouldn't have to maintain, that it would just go back to the property owners.
So you're looking at the Williams that used to be open to go into the old Kmart, which got bailed.
Yes.
Until whenever.
Goes from Elm, yes, dead ends into the fence there at the old Kmart building.
Is that behind the building? Street?
No,
behind it, or on the
it's,
south-
no,
north
it's,
side?
On the north side.
Okay.
where that, used to go through there, there's a fire hydrant there that went into there, old thing. They put a fence up when they sold the property. I guess the people that bought it, that have it now, put a fence up there. So it'll never be a through thing again. As far as the street, it'll never go any farther.
The other one is from Wimberley going north to the dead end, same situation.
No, where, I mean, Wimberley,
It's
north of what?
actually Wembley Street.
Uh-huh.
You've got Bradley, and then you've got Wimberley, and Wembley is the one that goes right in behind Neighbors that connects those two streets.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then when you turn back going west on Wimberley, it goes another 100 feet or so,
Yeah.
and dead ends into the Keith Jones property there.
Okay.
Is that an issue for us in any manner, then, Terry, if we choose to
No.
do that?
No, we can do that, you know, and you understand that the street will then go to the adjoining landowners. It'll be owned by
And
the
there will-
adjoining landowners, and they would be responsible for care or keep them up. They don't have to keep up the street office.
Where's our on Elm Street though, the fire hydrant's there, where's the nearest one if we abandon that property?
Well, now that's something that I hadn't thought about, and the last time it was talked about, it was said to abandon the streets.
Sure.
But then the ditch came up, so I hadn't even thought about the fire hydrant, but that might be an issue.
Yeah. I'm sure it was put in to support the Kmart when it was there, and that big
And
complex.
to be honest with you, I don't know which side the fire hydrant is on. I don't know if it's on the property owner's side or if it's on the business side.
They probably got a big bolt cutter there, but take care.
Best I can remember, we were testing that hydrant once and somebody came through there and it was on the property side of Kmart, I thought, but I don't know. Put them on, Paul, I've got them on.
It's just a thought that I hate to see us.
Well, I mean, if it would cause an issue, then we probably don't need to do that.
Let's see about
Make it
doing
move
the
close.
Wembley, and then let's
Yes.
investigate this a little further.
There's one on the corner of William and Elm Street. It's on Elm Street, it's in the front, it's not on that part that.
Okay, so the one in the parking lot there might belong to them, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not showing anything out there in that plaza.
Okay, it could have
Two
been
behind,
moved
there's
then
two
when they
behind.
did that.
That one you're in discussion about, that's right there, it's on Elm Street.
Okay.
So it is on the property that we're discussing or not?
No, it's on the Elm Street, it's not on the Williams Street that you're wanting to do away with.
So it's not gonna interfere if they abandon it.
Could be. Nah, I don't think so, not that far.
So you feel like we're okay on the hydrant and all that stuff then? Okay.
Well, we gotta run notices and all that kind of stuff, to abandon it. So,
Vote on it tonight and then run our,
yeah, well, tell me to proceed, then we'll run the notices and
okay.
if we have to have a public hearing or if anybody needs it, we do that.
I'll make a motion, we proceed this direction.
Second.
And go through all the steps on that.
And I'll get Brenda water notices.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion, a second, to abandon the two properties, or just the one?
Two.
Both, okay, on the two properties in discussion. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
Let's see, we've got some issues for the street department with our, POs that we wrote last year that are coming out of this year's budget. And I'm not sure how we can deal with this, but these POs have been written
They were written
several months ago.
in June.
And so, but they're coming out of this year's budget, and they, when we set this up, we were wanting them to come out of last year's budget, so I'm not sure how we can do this.
Some of the places don't send the bill, I guess, until the end of June,
That's what I was
so
gonna
we don't
ask.
receive it until July, which is already into our next year's, but I've already taken it out of my budget for the previous year, but then I'm getting a thing for it, and then I'm having to go back and take it out of my budget again for this next year.
So it seems like if we could use the PO date, it would be easier for the department at least to make sure which budget year it goes into.
Or we could, when we're doing budgets, what POs they haven't gotten payment for need to be included into the next year's equipment, in their new equipment, so that we know it's covered, not coming out of what they planned for the next year.
So we have to take that, basically take that money and move it forward.
And I actually tried not to write POs in June because this happened the year before, but some things came up that we had to have, so there was, it just had to be done, so there was no way around it.
So is that a workable solution then, as far as we're concerned, to?
Can you just amend the budget and add that to the new budget?
Should be able to.
I would think so. Sure.
Yeah, you can amend the budget anytime.
Okay, so you come up with a figure and we'll talk to the finance committee and get that amended to last year's budget then. Sounds great. Let me see if I got anything else here. We opened, we've opened the street and made it one way, and we've got no parking signs up and one-way street signs have been put up, and we're having a little bit of an issue about people parking there. So we're asking the police if they could help us out a little bit with that.
What
to
street's
enforce
that,
it. Keith, go ahead and detail it.
It's actually two things. Spence Street has been opened back up. That is the, Spence Street is the one that went in behind the building that burned. And since it's been torn down, it's opened back up. It is a one-way street that runs,
West to east.
yes. And we've got no parking and one-way signs up. We've not had too much trouble there other than a contractor that's working on one of the buildings has been parking there, but that's not a everyday thing. So we don't have much issue with that like we thought we might. The place where we do have an issue is on Anthony Street from First Street to Second Street. There've been signs up there for 2 or 3 years now. And in the beginning, they were enforced and nobody parked there, but now people have started parking there again, so I don't, if we could get somebody to maybe help with that. So far, Spence Street has not been an issue. I've gone by several times and they haven't had anybody parking there.
Keep going, you got the generator.
What else?
The generator.
Oh, okay, yes. The year before, we were allowed to put the money we had for our generator repair, we rolled it over into, equipment reserve to try to save enough money to get us a generator. We've got the one that the fire department had when they replaced theirs, we got down there, and it does work, but we have a lot of issues with it. It's old. Do you have any idea how old that thing was? It was one that, yeah, it's pretty old. As a matter of fact, we can't hardly find anybody to work on it, so we just kind of been patching it together. But we would like to roll over that generator maintenance and put it in equipment reserve to try to start saving toward the generator for our new building.
Still goes
At
back
least.
to our issue of equipment and trying to save the money to do it and plan for the future. And we have to figure out how to do that for a lot of different
And
situations.
it's just $2,000 all we had in there. I mean, if we have, we try to start it a couple times a month, and if we have an issue, we have to work on it, we will definitely use that money, but when we don't use the money, we'd like to be able to put it in the equipment reserve. We had discussed moving all of the money into equipment reserve, well, that didn't happen, so, and that's why this wasn't spent, because we were hoping to put that in there, and also for street department radios, replacing radios, we've got $800 for that, which $800 won't buy a whole lot, but I have talked to Paul, and I think that after talking to him, we've come up with a different solution. Instead of buying the truck mounted radios, we're gonna try to go with handheld, which would probably be a little bit cheaper, I think. I've not priced the truck mounted ones, but I know about what the handheld are. And I think that would be better, because then we wouldn't have to have as many of them. We just have each individual have access to one, whatever vehicle they're in, because none of our equipment has radios in them, and we've got a couple of trucks that don't.
What do you think the generator's gonna run? Have you done any pricing?
John, I priced one of those Generacs and having it put in, and I've got it, but it was last year, and I don't remember, but it was $18,000 or $20,000, I think, to get it put in. That's with the switch where you just go hit it and so forth.
You may be able to tap into emergency management grant, think, John?
I don't know, we just have to look, the grant cycle's already started.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have one next
Maybe a
year,
50-50.
because
We've also got a kitchen and everything down there, so it could also be used for, we don't have a
I mean, that's
shower
what-
or anything, but
well,
we
that's
have
what we gotta look at, is
kitchen,
your
bathroom and all that,
cold weather
for
and-
emergency purposes or
stuff come
whatever.
in and-
But that would be $2,800 if we could at least get that put in there for the radio and generator replacement.
I suggest that we table that for this meeting and look at the bigger picture, which is the whole ball of wax of trying to get equipment figured out how we can save for it, basically. And then bring it, that'd be all right if we bring it back
Oh,
to
yeah,
the next
that's,
meeting?
yeah.
Because we've
I
got
just
a-
wanna get
we've
it
got
out
a
there
bigger
that I want
problem.
that money. No, yeah, that'd be fine,
Okay.
because, I mean, really, that would be just a generator in that newest building, but we still have got the issue with the old one in the other building,
Yes.
which is where all of our equipment stays, and we do our maintenance work and everything else, but if there's something we could do to get two of them, and I don't know, the one that they gave me, the price for the new building was a little bigger than we need, but he said that's in case we needed to add something like washer, dryer, or something like that. We didn't wanna get just a bare minimum.
20%.
Yeah, you need about 20% over, so you're not.
And that might have been what he did. He said, I wouldn't get just what you need. He said, I would go a little above in case you wanted to add something, you wouldn't have the issue then. So, if y'all don't have any questions, that's all we've got.
Stay there.
Thank you.
Stormwater.
That's okay.
Keith,
Stormwater.
stay-
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a thing
Let
here.
me get you started on that. We have the contractor Knuckles Brothers is working on our intersections right now. And we've got one intersection that we're gonna have to rework and do some additional work on because of the stormwater issues associated with that intersection. And the stormwater budget is basically its own entity. And I was going to seek approval for the council tonight, similar to what we've already done, that if I get a hold of each of the committee members from Stormwater, when they give us a price, if we can get that approved and take it entirely out of Stormwater. We've talked to Terry on it. Terry said we could because it's an issue of having to tear out drains and things like that. But rather than wait till the next meeting, I'd like to get approval for it tonight, and then I'll contact the members of Stormwater, which voting members would be myself, Steve, Scott, John, and Mike are the voting members. And we'll get a hold of you and get you the bid and see if we can get that approved and then go on from there rather than wait.
What intersection is it?
It is the one behind the fire station there on Vanderventer, at Lee, Vanderventer and Lee. We have cleaned out 620 feet of that 24-inch pipe from the consignment shop back to that drain. And then when we got ready to go across the road, we thought we did have a sand blockage, but after about 5 feet, it turned into concrete. And then when you go across the road and pop the lid, there, you can't even see the 24-inch pipe because they poured concrete in the bottom of it, and all you can see is the 12-inch pipe that they, I guess, put above it to drain when the other one was stopped up. So, we're gonna get Knuckles Contractors to look at it when they get finished with the intersection. Well, actually, he's gonna look at it before that, but when they get finished with their intersections, we wanna have them go tear that out, take the 12-inch and the 24-inch pipe out, put a 24-inch pipe in there and run it across the road and get it where we can hook into the WPA lines. And we've also got, we've got that all cleaned out, we got the roots out of it, got it cambered, and sent off to Vision Sewer, which is the one that lined our pipe on Harrison. And they're supposed to be getting back with me on the price to line that from the consignment shop to Vanderbilt. And then we'll have a new pipe from that box across the road that goes into the WPA line. And Knuckles Contractors is, they're the ones that they voted to do the intersections, and after the fact, I went and talked to him, and he has been giving us a little bit of a discount on the intersection. So far on every one that he's done, he's knocked a little bit off.
I think all the work you've done on that 24-inch line, it would be
Yeah, well, I mean, going from,
prudent not to
yeah.
finish it out.
Well, we're going from a 24-inch pipe down to a 12-inch
Yeah.
pipe, and then going back into a 24-inch pipe just across the road, so that's slowing it down a whole lot. Where if we do this work, we'll be 24 all the way through, and hopefully get some of that out of there quicker. We still have flooding there, but not anything like it used to be. And it's gone pretty quick after the rain stops.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve it if the committee comes together? Correct?
Correct.
Do you have a ceiling on what you're asking the council to authorize?
I don't think it's gonna be that high. I
No.
think it'll
Well, we
be,
still have to have a ceiling.
okay.
But we don't really have a way to.
Give yourself room.
Okay, huh?
5,000?
No.
More than that?
Maybe more than that, because they're gonna have to tear it out, put the pipe in and redo the road. I would say maybe 10. I don't think it'll be anywhere near that, but
Go 20 and.
Well, give yourself some
Yeah,
room.
yeah, let's go 20 and,
if we can do that, that'd be great.
we get in.
I'm thinking
something
less
that
than
we don't-
10, but
Well,
I don't
less than
know.
10 would be great, but give yourself,
Yeah,
give
okay.
yourself
room.
Well, if y'all can do
Come back.
20, because we're gonna, I think we've got a pipe and we built a drain lid, and I'm thinking it's not gonna be but maybe 20 feet wide, but we'll have to get the 20-foot pipe,
But
or
that
the
hasn't been
24-inch
explored
pipe,
yet,
however much of that we need, so.
So I'm gonna make that motion at a limit of 20.
Okay. So we have a motion? Second. Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Y'all have any questions? That's all I've got.
Anything on industrial right now? I don't think so. Senior citizens.
No, we haven't had a meeting
Okay.
this month. We're gonna try to have an evening meeting when I schedule it. So we'll let you know
Good.
All right.
if anybody wants to come.
All right. Don't have anything down in unfinished, so new business. Approval, conflict of interest ordinance.
I don't know if I'm going to copy it, but I go get it. Let me see if I got it.
You need that ordinance, Brenda? I've got a copy of it.
The conflict of interest ordinance?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, you got it, thank you. Because I didn't bring it.
yes. First reading, and this is one we do every year. We're required to do it every other year, but we do it every year. An ordinance of the city of Kennet, Missouri to establish a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain officials.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Second reading, an ordinance of the city of Kennet, Missouri to establish a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain officials.
Motion,
Motion.
second. This one's roll call?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. All right. The approval of recodification. I said that right? We had a public hearing on it, and so now we need just approval of it. That's the ordinances.
It's codification of the ordinances, we do it every 20 years. For the last time. Sort of. Yeah. We did, the last time we did it was in the 90s. But it, what they do is they take all the ordinances we passed, add them into the code, and also update the code with whatever changes are made to state law. It's a company's a very good company, and it makes it a whole lot easier to find what we've done, to find what our laws are.
Okay,
Need a motion
so we need a motion?
Motion.
A motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carries. Also, you had the statement of revenue and expenditures.
Motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Then you had bank balances.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Then city abstract.
Motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second?
Second.
Who's seconded? Tyler? Oh, Bob.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Vote. Okay. And then approval of the EEZ ordinance.
Okay, this is an ordinance that would approve a 50% abatement of personal property tax that Delta Peanut puts for any personal property they purchase and place on their property in the compress. And what it is, it's 50% abatement of taxes for a 10-year period. That's the rate that was approved by the EEZ committee, and that's what's recommended to the council. First reading, an ordinance approving real property tax abatement for improvements on real property located on Compress Road within Enhanced Enterprise Zone 24, Kennett, Missouri, and directing the city clerk to provide a copy of this ordinance to the director of the Missouri Department of Economic Development.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Second reading, an ordinance approving real property tax abatement for improvements on real property located on Compress Road within Enhanced Enterprise Zone 24, Kennett, Missouri, and directing the city clerk to provide a copy of this ordinance to the director of the Missouri Department of Economic Development.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor? Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay. All in favor? All right, last on the agenda is the ratification of air packs.
That was the air packs that y'all bought at the last, between the last meeting and this one? Did that not have to be brought up?
Should be.
So. We need a,
Give us a report. What do
give
you-
us a report on the air packs.
Just give us a report.
Just give you a report?
Yeah,
Okay,
on the airbags.
we're needing to go ahead and purchase 10 more SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. Yeah, we're needing to purchase 10 more, utilizing funding from our previous budget's PPE that we did not spend, as well as our current budget for PPE, which is in excess of $5,000.
And wasn't the reason for the, not really emergency purchase, but the purchase at that time was there was a substantial discount. It was purchased before
Yes.
August 30th or maybe some other time.
September, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the reason you did it, and you're just asking you went ahead and purchased them, but you're just asking the council to ratify that for us.
What was the total cost?
Total cost? Thank you, gentlemen. Lisa? Do you remember what the total cost was?
Ballpark?
72,000. Again,
But with that cost, it was a substantial savings.
It was it's gonna go up 9%, is what it was.
Make a motion to approve. We
Got a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks for the
Been handled already.
Sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
So, also under new business, John, you want me to read this, or you? Okay. Unfortunately, Mr. Charlie Maddox here has got an announcement, and I'll let him go with the, announcement. Here.
If I can do it. 2 weeks ago, we had an unforeseen development in our family life, and I'm having to resign this seat, and we're having to move, relocate. It's been very difficult in our church. And I tell you, I've lived overseas for many years, traveled 21 countries, lived in 5. But the last 5-6 months has been one of the most enjoyable of my life. I know this sounds corny, but I have loved sitting in the seat and helping our citizens. And I've loved working with the city council, and it's hard because we don't want to leave, but it's something we have to do. And so we'd appreciate your prayers, and I would definitely be praying for you. Anybody that has my phone number, keep it. I'm not changing it. Can't help much from that distance, but I can at least talk to you if you need a call and need anybody to talk to, okay? Appreciate you all. Love all the departments. I love working with each of you, and I'm gonna miss being a part of it and miss you all.
We've enjoyed having you with us.
Thank you very much for your time and service. It's been great.
Is this your last meeting?
Oh, effective next meeting.
Yeah.
At the end of next meeting, I'm walking out.
Yeah, you still got one more.
Okay.
All right, so with that being said, under the mayor's report, that is gonna leave a vacant seat in Ward 3. So if you currently live in Ward 3 and you would like to sit in a seat up here, please make yourself known. Drop me a line, and we'll sit down and talk. But I would really appreciate that for that area. So just, it's unfortunate that this is gonna have to happen, but if you're interested in serving on city council for Ward 3, please let me know. Drop a line in up here at the city hall, and we'll go from there. Along with that, you also, September 21st, I'm probably gonna get the time wrong, but I think it's at 2 o'clock.
I don't even remember.
September 21st, there will be a bid opening for the road that'll be going into Delta Peanut. And I'm sorry, I do not have the time right here. I
I
think
want to
it's
say,
at,
I thought 10.
they tend to, they both start with the T, so.
Yeah.
So it will be that day on the 22nd, well, on 21st. We'll make it known a little more on the
I can
time-wise.
cross-find it.
And, but just moving forward, as you've seen all the progress going on out at Delta Peanut, there is a huge amount, and this will be another factor adding in, getting you there, along with, fire trucks, roads, everything. So things are coming together very well out there. So a lot of good progress.
Talked to one of the board members, he said that our owners, they're ahead of schedule this time.
Yeah, they've already started phase 2, and they weren't planning on starting phase 2 until, early spring next year. But there's, when those guys work, they work. They put stuff up.
Have we found out what the base is on that yet, Keith?
What's that?
Have we found out what the base is on that road?
I think it's gonna be chat. He came down, it's gonna be a chat base, I think 4 to 6 inches, and it's gonna be 8-inch thick concrete when it's done.
And what are we?
He said that we can go ahead and put the base down and let them drive on it this winter. He said driving on it really doesn't really matter, because they will be checking it, and it will be packed to 95% compaction, regardless whether it's driven on or not. But if we put it down and let them drive on it this winter, he said that'd be fine too. And then they can pick up next year with the work.
We kind of told them that we guaranteed them that it would be in there when they needed it for business, with the idea that if we were recruiting another business, that they would back us up and say that we've done what we could to support them. So they agreed to do that, and we have agreed to make sure that base is down before they need it.
So it's, so things are going forward, and, you know, harvest time is just around the corner. So if you can, 21st, if you wanna be there, it'll be, right here at City Hall. And I know we also have, I think every committee has a closed session, so I'll go ahead and leave that, because closed session's gonna be quite lengthy tonight. And, public comment? 3, 2, 1, all right. Motion to adjourn and go into closed session.
Motion.
Second.
Everybody in favor?